The Sunday school lesson for July 13th, 2025 is Lord of the Sabbath, Matthew chapter 12, verses 1 through 8. Welcome, viewers and subscribers, to my channel, The Backstory and More. If you are new here, please notice the agenda, the backstory, lesson text, and summary. In order to continue to serve you and meet your need, I am asking you to please rate this video. Which part of the video do you like best? 1. Backstory. 2. Lesson text. 3. Summary. Select one part from above and write the number of your choice in the comments. Thank you in advance for all that you do to help this channel reach its potential. The backstory. Observing a 7-day week that included one day of rest, Sabbath, was a distinctive practice of ancient Israel. An ancient king might declare a rest day to celebrate a great victory, but regular, periodic rest was a revolutionary idea. For the most part, ancient peoples were expected to work every day. Sabbath was a gift that God gave through the law of Moses. It commemorated two of God's mighty acts. First, God completed the work of creation and rest on the seventh day. Second, God liberated his people from oppression in the land of Egypt, a place where they were not allowed to rest. Rest was a gift from God. Even the animals got a day off. Deuteronomy chapter 5, verses 12 through 15. Sabbath was not only a blessing, but also an expression of faith. The challenge was to trust God that 6 days of labor would be enough to sustain life as God provided for his people. That required a lot of faith in a pre-industrial agrarian era. The law of Moses extended observance of Sabbath to include 1 year out of 7. On every 7th year, the fields were to remain uncultivated, debts would be forgiven, and enslaved people emancipated. In the year of Jubilee, which came after 7 Sabbath years, 49 years total, any land that had been sold would return to its original owners. Through these commands, God promised blessing and fruitfulness in the land he had given Israel as an inheritance. But keeping Sabbath had been a controversial topic for centuries by Jesus' day. Israel's prophets had spoken out against hypocritical Sabbath observance. Jeremiah had warned Jerusalem that failure to keep Sabbath would lead to destruction. The prophets also looked forward to a day when Sabbath would be kept properly, when God's blessing would be restored to the nation of Israel, and even other nations would join in worshiping God for his mighty acts. The Pharisees of Jesus' day responded by emphasizing meticulous observance of Sabbath. Their Torah, traditions passed down by word of mouth, had amplified regulations that prevented a person from even coming close to breaking the commandments. Such traditions defined what constituted work that could and could not be performed on the Sabbath. Verses 1 through 2. At that time, Jesus was through the grain fields on the Sabbath. His disciples were hungry and began to pick some heads of grain and eat them. When the Pharisees saw this, they said to him, "Look, your disciples are doing what is unlawful on the Sabbath." Verses 3 through 4. He answered, "Haven't you read what David did when he and his companions were hungry? He entered the house of God, and he and his companions ate the consecrated bread, which was not lawful for them to do, but only for the priests." Verses 5 through 7. Or haven't you read in the law that the priests on Sabbath duty in the temple desecrate the Sabbath and yet are innocent? I tell you that something greater than the temple is here. If you had known what these words mean, I desire mercy, not sacrifice, you would not have condemned the innocent. Verse 8, for the Son of Man is Lord of the Sabbath. A brief summary. Matthew's gospel continues describing the escalation of the conflict between Jesus and the Jewish leaders. As Jesus revealed more about who he was, it became necessary to show that the old covenant was a shadow of the good things that are coming. Jesus was more than a teacher of the law. He was the fulfillment of the law. Matthew related two incidents in which the Pharisees confronted Jesus about keeping the Sabbath day. In the first, his disciples plucked a few heads of grain and ate them to stave off hunger. According to tradition, this was harvesting grain on the Sabbath. In the second, Jesus healed a man with a shriveled hand. Again, healing was work traditionally forbidden on the Sabbath. Interestingly enough, Jesus did not answer by dismissing their concerns as trivial or their interpretation of the law as unnecessarily restrictive. Instead, he used the opportunity to proclaim who he was. The phrases Son of Man and Lord of the Sabbath and something greater than the temple were unmistakable claims of deity. Not surprisingly, the Pharisees saw only one way to respond to Jesus: to plot to kill him. Thank you so much for listening. Now, don't forget to rate the video, respond to the second slide, and write the answer of your choice, the number of your choice, in the comments. Thank you for all that you do to help this channel grow one viewer and one subscriber at a time.